Do you like fantasy football and sports betting? Come join us here at the Parlay Fantasy Football Podcast, where hosts Matt, Shane, and Jason talk about fantasy players, lineups, and sports betting to help you compete and win championships. And of course, some extra cash. Let's jump right into the show.
Welcome in for another episode of the Parlay Fantasy Football Podcast. And yes, you are seeing it correctly, guys. It is just Matt and Jason tonight. Shane has some family stuff going on with his extended family, so he was unable to make the podcast tonight. But hey, we're here. We're ready to talk bets, college and NFL, guys. We're still going. This train is still going north, right? There ain't no squealing of the tires or whatever you want to call them on trains. We're still smooth sailing right up in here. All right. Jason, how you doing tonight?
Hey, this ball's rolling. Shane, we do miss you. We do love you. We hope everything is going well. Matt, I will tell you, I say this a lot, but I was more hurt on Sunday night than I have been from a previous ex-girlfriends that I've been in a long time. So I'm recovering, but we're getting better, my guy.
Hey, it happens. It happens. He is referring to the Houston Texans when they faced off against the Detroit Lions. But hey, man, that was a great game. Detroit Lions is, we said it last week, right? They're one of the best teams in football right now in the NFL. They're playing like one of the best teams. The Texans put up a good fight. They've just had some misfortunate things happen to them this year, right? You mentioned play calling before the podcast started. You know, the injuries, lots of things have transpired, but hey, they're going to make it right, and we're going to find that out here this week. You know, I'm saying a little spoiler alert. But hey, to all you guys that are in here watching the podcast live with us right now, we love you so very much. We hope that you continue to show us support, subscribe, all that good stuff. If you guys want to follow any of us on the old X machine, you can find myself at Matt_Parlay FF. You can find Jason at Jason Parlay FF, and Shane, we love you, but you can find him at Shane Parlay FF. Over there on X, head on over to fantasy6pack.net. Use the promo code ParlayFF if you guys want to get all access membership, right? It is 15% off if you use that code. What does that give you? It gives you access to every single bet that we put out, not just the 3 free ones that we give you during the podcast, during the week. Gives you access to all that. Gives you access to the Discord, where there is tons and tons and tons of people over there, very knowledgeable people, other podcasters, other analysts. You want to get over there. The website, guys, you have draft cheat sheets, draft strategies, fantasy information throughout the entire season, not just football, lots of sports. Head over there, get your all access membership if you guys want to ride with us. And then obviously, guys, on the old YouTube right now, we got some people live right now, whether they're on X or on the YouTube. Fantasy 6-Pack on the YouTube. That's where you guys can see our video side of things. If you want to subscribe to the audio side, you can head over to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, look up Parlay Fantasy Football Podcast. Again, we love you guys all for showing us the continued support. We just hope you guys continue to subscribe, share, leave us 5-star reviews, comments. We want more interaction with all of you guys. So head on over there, do your thing. We're going to keep doing ours. Now, guys, this week is the Parlay Fade segment, just like we do every single week. This is where we give you guys our bets, right? The fantasy episode that comes out at a later date. So tonight, Jason, do you have any comments or anything like that before we actually jump into the betting segment?
Hey, real quick, before we get into your college picks, I'm glad we had a wild week of college and NFL games that went against the public. It was about time. We needed it. We needed some upsets in the world. Matt, you know we love those dogs to bark. The dogs came out barking this week. If you hit the right dog, besides the Georgia Bulldogs, sucks. But
oh yeah, don't remind me.
I know that one sucks. But at the same time, hey, we like the dogs. We don't necessarily love backing the favorites because that is just the easy way out. And the Vegas makes their money on the dogs. And we had a decent week, our week, this past week ourselves. So, Matt, with all to do, you got it.
All right. So, like Jason said, this is where I'm going to get into my college picks, guys. I'm telling you now, like, I don't want to jinx myself, okay? And hopefully I don't, but you want to ride with me on these college picks. You know, I listen, before I jump into it, Jason, I just want to go off on just a tiny little tangent. So I listen to quite a few other betting podcasts, and I gauge their information. I kind of look at my own stuff. I do my own research. I tell you what, man, there's some people out there that, like, they'll throw, 20, 30 picks out on a podcast, and they're like super confident.
Tough.
Yeah. And they're like super confident in like 10 of them. And then like 2 will hit. And then the next week they just go along like nothing's wrong. Man, I'd be crying. If that were me.
Are those straight games or are those like are those props?
Dude, no, it's just straight games, but it's typically covers and all this now. Like props, like team totals and stuff, I'm all game for because I like that.
Fair.
I like that.
You
But
parlay
man,
those.
yeah,
Mhm.
parlay some. It's nuts. It's nuts. And so, yeah. But anyway, let's get off onto the college picks, guys. I got a good little lineup for you guys this week. So last week overall on the F6P channel, I'm gonna tell you guys straight up, man. I didn't do too hot. I went 1-2 on the F6P in my college plays. Georgia really, I was pretty confident in Georgia last week, and they kind of burnt me. So let's get right this week. Overall, if you guys got the all access membership, overall though, we made a decent amount of money. We went 7-5 for the overall record last week. And right now, my overall record for the entire college football season sits at 76-51. So I am still doing well. My record is still doing extremely well. And I hope I can get back on track this week. So I'm going to give you guys my lock, right? And we say it every week. This is a chalk pick for me. Okay, it's a team. It's my hometown team. It's a team I played for. It's the Kansas State Wildcats minus 9.5 at home versus Arizona State. Here's my reason for it. Yes, we lost to one of the worst teams in the Big 12 prior to last week. We got a week off. I hope that they got their minds right because now they are in a situation. It's a very bleak situation, but now they are in a situation where they must win out. And they have to hope for some help from some other teams. So, coming off the bye week, coming off an embarrassing loss, playing at Houston, a team that I think set some records against us, like red zone scoring. I think they were probably number 132 in FBS in red zone scoring, and we couldn't stop them. So, I'm going to take the Kansas State Wildcats minus 9.5 here. I look for Avery Johnson, DJ Giddens, Dylan Edwards to get their minds right, get their game back a little bit. Playing at home, there's some motivation there. So I'm going to take the Kansas State Wildcats minus 9.5. Next game, I'm taking the Colorado Buffaloes minus 10. I think it's at 10 or 10.5.
10.5.
Is it at 10.5?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I'm going to take the Colorado Buffaloes minus 10.5 here in this game. Okay, guys, and they're playing Utah.
I'm a believer.
Listen, I was off Colorado. If you guys listened to the earlier season episodes, I was actually off Colorado so much so that I took them under their team total wins for the year, which I think sat at 4 or 4.5. But hey, man, I'm going to tell you straight up, dude. I would say a lot of the betting analysts, unless they were Colorado fans, did the exact same thing I did. So they are showing us that they are a better team. They had something to prove. They actually look pretty good on offense. Their defense has stepped up. They're still not very good on defense, but they have looked better over the past few weeks. Shedeur Sanders, Travis Hunter, those guys are good, right? Their offense does look good. Utah is coming off of a game where they should have won. Their athletic director is calling out the Big 12 commissioner. I think he is doing everything in his power to have them review and reverse that game. Now, where there were some controversial calls in that game, don't get me wrong, especially the last second when BYU did their thing, but I'm going to take Colorado minus 10.5 here. I think the state of Utah, that organization is in a little bit disarray. I think Colorado might punch it to him. I think they might punch it to him this week. So I'm going to take Colorado. What's up, Jason?
Hey, real quick point about that game. Yes, I love that pick because Colorado's D line looks so much better.
Yeah.
And their O-line looks so much better than they did last year. They can hold up and they can rush the passer.
Right.
I don't care about the secondary. I don't care about the skill players that Colorado has. Utah should have won last week. I hate the position that you're in to take that pick, but
yeah,
it is what it is.
Yeah.
And yes, Utah should have won that game. They got screwed.
Yeah, whether we like it or not, Colorado is in the mix for the college football playoffs here.
Yes, sir.
They have some stuff that happened favorable in their matchup with Iowa State now losing their second straight game. Colorado needed that. K-State needed that. So I won't harp on anybody if they want to take the Utah line plus 10.5, because it is a juicy number. It is a large number, and we have seen
a risky pick.
We've seen things in the Big 12 though that have been unreal this year. It is the best conference in my opinion in college football. So I'm not going to blame anybody if they wanted to be on the other side of that line as well. And then my last game for college football for you guys on these picks is UCLA plus 3.5 playing at Washington. UCLA hits the road this weekend to face a nemesis in Washington. These guys are rivals. They're a nemesis, except now they're in the Big Ten. Again, is a team, as you remember, I was off UCLA to start the year, but they have turned things around, and they've won their past 3 road games at Rutgers, Nebraska, and a shocking win at Iowa. This team needs to win 2 more of their next 3 games to become bowl eligible, which would be a miracle after a 1-5 start. Washington has only covered once in a bad 4-game stretch and really has only covered 3 of their last 6 games. Washington stacked up games early, but they have looked extremely, extremely poor of late. UCLA looks to stay red hot. And honestly, this is the team to back in this matchup. The hook in this matchup matters a lot. So if you can get it right now at 3.5, get it at 3.5 plus 3.5. So those are my college plays for this week. And then guys, I'm gonna throw you a parlay. I'm gonna throw you a little parlay right here, just a little freebie. Okay. Arizona minus 1.5 versus Houston. SMU minus 17 and Liberty minus 14. That is a plus 590 parlay. I like these teams. I like their offenses. Arizona at minus 1.5 versus, in my opinion, the worst team in the Big 12 as it sits currently. SMU's offense is unreal and they are fast. Liberty is a team that I've been on pretty much all season. So I like that. I like that little parlay right there. You can get it at plus 590. So throw a couple bucks on there and win some big money. Jason, those are my college plays, brother.
Sheesh. You're throwing in an extra parlay for us too, my
just an extra little thing. You know, Shane's not here. We gotta stack up the show somehow.
You put a little salt and spice on that. It was like, oh my gosh, a little seasoning on that. Well, Matt, I don't know if you have the drop for our picks and whatnot, but we about to get into it.
Get into it.
Let's get into it. Hey guys, last week I'm gonna go over the recap for our parlay NFL week 11 or week 10 picks. So last week for the free picks, we didn't do as well as we thought we would. We went 4-5 as a group. Last week was a weird, interesting week. Matt can agree. We all saw kind of things that we thought we would see, especially from a favorite turnout from the week before. We thought dogs would cover. They did cover, but we didn't pick the right dogs. 4-5, it's okay. We don't have the total overall. Shane is not here. I know Shane threw out a lot of bets from week 10, so we aren't going to give you the total overall that we had, but I can give you this. Last week, your boy went 3-3. Matt went 2-2. We aren't going to give you Shane's total overall because it's a little bit skewed with his lock or with his props and whatnot. So Shane can address that on his tweets and whatnot. So we're not going to throw that in there. So overall, last week we went. What we got? Free picks went 4-5, and overall we went 12, 11, and 1. So we're just gonna leave it there, and Shane can address that whenever he wants to. But with our locks, we went 2-1. Matt and I's locks hit. We both sit at 6-4. Shane's lock did not hit. He now moves at 6-4. But all of our locks, Matt, are at 6-4 now. So if you're following our locks, you're making money. If you're putting a unit on whatever your unit size is on our locks, you're making money on all of our lock picks. So that is a phenomenal unit share right there. Then it goes to season total. Your boy's at 29-20. Matt is at 25, 21, and 1, and Shane is at 32, 30, and 2. We are all plus 500, Matt.
It's amazing.
How does that sound right now?
That sounds like a bank, dude. Cha-ching, you know what I mean?
Cha-ching. It's a money sign right now. It's Money Manziel time. I mean, it's probably one of the better opportunities that you can have following us. You're up units right now. And if you're just putting one unit on all of us, you are up big time based on unit size. Hey, and gamble responsibly. We always say this, but at the same time, we are up on our season total. Our goal is to be up above 500 throughout the entire season. So Matt, I'm going to give you the opportunity to go first. I'm going to go second, then you're going to give Shane's picks to end us off. But Matt, go ahead and lead us off.
Okay. Like Jason said, we're going to try and keep rolling. We're going to kind of try and keep rolling for you guys and continue, hopefully, to make you guys some money here. So, my lock of the week, Jason. I'm going to do it again.
Do it. Do it, baby.
It's burned me every time, but I've got to give her a shot. I'm going to take the Bills minus 2.5. Playing the Chiefs this weekend. The undefeated Chiefs, we know they're the best. That's the best record in football. So technically, they are the best team in football right now, right? But to me, man, like the Chiefs are a sound team. They are a good team. I'm not trying to like fire anything off at any Chiefs fans or Shane himself or anything like that, but they are a good team. But they have scraped by. They should have lost against the Broncos, but they got that blocked field goal, which is good. That's good, right? I'm not taking anything away. The Bills are a little bit better offense. I know Josh Allen is a little banged up, but he's going to be ready for this game. My question is to you, Josh Allen, is can you do it? Can you finally do it? Can you finally break through and beat the Chiefs? I feel like the Chiefs are at that point right now where they are vulnerable, right? Everybody's talking about, are they the next team to go undefeated and, blah, blah. Maybe, maybe not. Again, I'm going to take my chances here. I'm going to roll the dice and take the Bills minus 2.5. I like that number. I think they can get it done. So give me the Bills minus 2.5.
Question real quick about that game.
Yeah.
Would you be upset if the Bills one didn't cover?
Yeah, I would be. Okay.
Or would you be happier if the Chiefs just went outright?
I would be happier if the Chiefs just won outright. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair. There we go. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. My next pick, guys, I am going to take the Steelers plus 3.5 playing Baltimore at home. I've got my Steelers stuff on. Okay. I am a Steelers fan. It is a chalky pick, right? Come at me. But the Steelers are a good team.
Let Russ cook.
If you have watched any of ESPN analysts, NFL analysts, just any analyst out there in the professional world, they called for the Steelers to be the worst team in that conference this year. The worst team in that conference. Not so fast, my friends, right? George Pickens is a baller. Mike Williams, I think, is getting involved. Do I think he's a phenomenal asset? That remains to be seen. The Steelers are cooking. Mike Tomlin finds a way to do it. Every single year, everybody calls for the Steelers to be bad. Mike Tomlin has never finished under 500, right? This is a Baltimore game, rivalry matchup, playing in Pittsburgh. Baltimore has looked suspect this year. They have not looked like the team that is dominant every single week. The Steelers don't play that kind of football. The Steelers never usually blow out teams unless it is something that really fluky happens. The Steelers defense should do enough to be able to slow down this Baltimore offense, especially at home with all those terrible towels waving about. And it's going to be a low-scoring game like it is every year. So I'm going to take the Steelers plus 3.5 because I actually have them winning this game, but I like the line at plus 3.5. So give me the Steelers there. Last game, Jason, I am taking your Houston Texans minus 7.5 playing at Dallas. Nico Collins is expected to be back for this game, and I'm going to tell you guys right up front, Dallas is toast. They're done. They're mashed potatoes. Dak Prescott out for the year. Sorry, Cooper Rush, you are a competent quarterback, but you're not going to be able to push the ball downfield. Rico Dowdle is your best running back. CeeDee Lamb has to be crying a little bit in his bed right now. He should see the volume of most of the targets, but teams know this. They're going to pick up on it. And the Houston Texans should have just beat the Detroit Lions, the hottest team in football. They picked off Jared Goff 5 freaking times. They are a good team. They are not to be trifled with. They are not to be forgotten about. So give me the Texans minus 7.5. Jason, you're up.
I'm glad. Wrong button. I'm glad that you have so much confidence in my Texans as you do. Because, Matt, I did have a terrible time sleeping Sunday night when we didn't score a single point in the second half. But that is nowhere to talk about right now because we got some locks right now. And I'm going to start off with my lock just like you did, Matt. I got Eagles locked in at home versus Commanders at 3.5. I don't care about the hook. Eagles have a top 5 team in the NFL right now, and they showed it after the first quarter against the pathetic Dallas Cowboys. I love what Jalen Hurts is doing with his weapons. They have turned it around. They're not putting it on their head coach and making those stupid-ass decisions that they did in the past three games. Jaden Daniels, yes, he did have his worst game of the football season last week versus your best team, I would say best defense in the league, the Steelers. But I think the Commanders and their secondary cannot hold the jockstrap of the receivers in Philly going forward. So I like them to control the football, control the game, and I think they covered that 3.5 and at least win by 6 in this game going forward. And I think this is a Thursday night football game, so I don't mind it. The Eagles rested their starters for the fourth quarter, and the Commanders had an emotional second half. Matt, real quick, do you think they got that first down?
No comment.
Oh, cool. We'll move on. Shoot. I was not expecting that. Next one. I like the Browns +1 at the Saints this week. We all, like Shane and I were talking about last week, the Saints with the interim head coach. With a team that has an interim head coach, they always seem to perform better that week. There usually seems to be a regression the week after. I'd like to spot that Jameis Winston's in with his weapons going forward against the Saints, going back to his old hometown team. Give me the Browns off of bye week going to New Orleans. I love that +1. That means Vegas doesn't know what's really going on. I love what's happening there in Cleveland. I think they're the better team with their assets in the offensive line and interior. I think they're going to run the football all over the Saints and ground and pound them, control the ball. I love the Browns in this game. Last but not least, Matt, this game got flexed. This is flex week, baby. Flex week. You know what I'm talking about? Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase are going to flex all over the Chargers in LA at that fake ass stadium that they have. Chargers, they are a respectable team. I think they're a top 5 team in the AFC, but the Bengals have a lot more firepower. We did see it last week. Joe Burrow is a top 3 quarterback in the league, and they haven't seen that yet. The Chargers have had the easiest schedule in the NFL this year and have had great coaching. This is what happens when you actually pay a head coach that comes in and changes the culture. But I don't know if they've seen a quarterback and a wide receiver duo like they have. I think Joe Burrow will actually expose them and bring them back to life, even though I still think that the Chargers are a top 5 team. Give me the Bengals at +1.5. I think the Bengals even win outright this week at the Chargers. I love them this week in this situation. Bengals +1.5.
I like it. I like your picks, Jay. Bingo. Bingo was his name. All right, let's jump into Shane's picks. Okay. Here we go. Shane, hopefully I do you right by saying all these. So Shane's lock is the Vikings -6 playing at the Tennessee Titans. Listen, the Vikings, they're shaking off the cobwebs from a bad offensive showing. Shane is expecting the Vikings to make a very much needed hard effort to play this Titans team that has kind of been a middling pack team so far this year. We know, listen, we know what the Vikings have on offense. They're incredible. When they click, they click. So I like that pick from Shane. He is taking the Vikings -6. Second game of his, he's going head to head with you, Jason, here. He is taking the Commanders +3.5, playing at the Philadelphia Eagles. And his big deal is catching more than a field goal. He is a key number. Eagles have been impressive recently, but
it's a head-to-head bet for us.
Shane says that he'll take the hook in this high-powered matchup, and he ain't wrong. This should be a high-powered matchup. It should be a good game, hopefully, the way that the Commanders have played on offense. They've got a pretty powerful offense, and if you watch them play, you will know. And you guys know Shane. Shane does his little teasers here, right? 6-point teaser. He's got the Dolphins down to -0.5 versus the Raiders, and he has taken the Steelers up to +9 versus the Baltimore Ravens. You can get that at -120. He has it perfectly in explanation, right? The Dolphins, they still feel like they can be a playoff team, but they pretty much have to win out to make sure that happens. Their offense didn't look that great last week, but we all know when they are healthy and firing, they have a very fast, high-powered offense. Look to get that going this week. And then the Steelers, I kind of reiterated to it. Shane kind of agrees to it. The Steelers they're that team that everyone still thinks that is not very good, that they might lose or that they can lose, and they go out and prove people wrong. I think he agrees to that, but him taking it to +9, that's extremely great. That's a fantastic number. So that's his teasers of the week.
Yeah, Shane always looks at the key numbers whenever it comes to
big time.
teasers, Matt, where it's that 3, that the 0.5, those 0.5 numbers, to where he knows his numbers whenever it comes to those teasers. So this is one of those strategic games to where if you don't like the big numbers, Shane will tease it down, and they always look phenomenal whenever he does tease it down to where he knows his stuff. He does his research on it, and I love it, even though Shane and I are going head-to-head on this bet, and we have already made a bet. So we'll fill you in next week on the shot bet of who wins, because the Eagles are my lock, and I do not believe that the Commanders can cover that, especially after last week's showing. But to here there, Matt, we do have a parlay.
We do.
We do have a parlay, and Matt, I want you to go first on your parlay and who you're picking with this.
I'm taking the Steelers. I'm taking the Steelers money line. They're dogs at home. It seems like to be in a good situational spot. If they keep rolling, they're going to keep doing their thing. So I like the Steelers money line right here, baby.
And my money line pick of the week is the Dolphins.
The Dolphins. There you go.
I think they still roll. I think they still swim through it. I still think that that was the best performance I've seen out of them since last season, even though Tua's dumbass doesn't still know how to tackle and get out of the freaking way from an interception where he still got kneed in the helmet. Matt, I don't know if I want to pick one for Shane, but the 2-team parlay for the Dawg parlay that we gave y'all, we're just gonna go 2 since Shane isn't here. Shane didn't pick one. Shane didn't pick one, so we're going 2-team right here this week. The odds were plus 904. So you bet $10, you win $90.40 on this parlay. So that's our Dawg parlay of the week. The dogs are going to come out barking. You know how we do it in this podcast. We don't pick favorites whenever it comes to the Dawg parlay. We go for the big dogs. And, hey, we always tell you, bet responsibly.
Yes.
Hey,
bet responsibly.
Know your units.
Yep. Know what you guys are doing there. It is a tricky game. It's a tricky business. You just want to make sure that you're responsible with it. We will say it till we're blue in the face. Mm-hmm. Don't get wrapped up in it if you are down bad. Make sure you know when to stop. Make sure you when you know when you want to keep going. Do it smart. Do it responsibly. That is going to wrap up today's show of the Parlay Fade segment of the Parlay Fantasy Football Podcast. Remember, guys, head over to fantasy6pack.net. Become an all-access member. Use promo code Parlay FF to get 15% off. Head on over to the YouTube page. Give it a subscribe. Give it a thumbs up, guys. It's real simple. It's a real quick clickety-clack of a button. Do that. It helps out Fantasy Six Pack. It helps out us, and we would greatly appreciate it. And then don't forget Apple Podcasts, Spotify. Look up the Parlay Fantasy Football Podcast. Subscribe, share with your friends. Leave us a 5-star review. Give us some comments. Give us some feedback. What do you guys want to hear? What bets do you guys want to hear? Do you like the parlays? Do you like the straight bets? We want to know that kind of stuff. So that way in the future, we can get better at doing this for you guys, right? Other than that, you guys know what to do. Jason, you know what to do.
Hey, thank you guys. I appreciate you all. Fantasy Six Pack, you've done so much for us. Go and give them a follow. They've done so much for us. But yes, let us know about your straight bets, teasers, parlays. We got you. Hey, one love.
That's right, baby. We love you all to the moon and back. And until next episode, peace out.